Good evening, everybody. Targeted individual from South Yorkshire here. Tonight, I'd like to go into the remote neuromonitoring, gang stalking, i.e., organised stalking, and directed energy weapon side of things. I will start with the remote neuromonitoring and explain some things that can be done and some of my experiences. Voice morphing can be done, and this can be made to sound like a friend, an ex, anybody you might know. And when you're hooked up to this, that can be used. So just thought I'd put that out there. In my case, it is the psychopath from Stocksbridge who is doing the V2K, who's got access to the remote neural monitoring, and probably the people I've mentioned in my previous videos as well. They've got access, along with God knows who else. They can insert words and loop them, and in my case, they've inserted, give up and loop that, called me an insect, called me vile things, and looped it, and it was really horrific. I was working at the time, and I've been going over my diaries, so this is just the tip of the iceberg, really, for what I'm going to explain. But it was 24/7 when I was working. I'd also like to explain about a patent which is US patent 201 303 11595, and I forget what it's actually called in full, but it means you can overlay and broadcast over media in real time. Um, so what the equipment that they've got is probably more advanced. What they use in TI's cases. But in one example, I was sat in a living room and I was watching TV with a family member, and they broadcast in real time that they was going to come in, smother the family member of mine, and they said, "Don't worry, we'll shut her eyes." That is horrific. Of course, it's horrific. It'd be horrific to anybody. And like I said, I've highlighted the pattern, and yeah, they've also said that all of you will be in a coffin soon. They've told me they will slip my wrist in my sleep. Now, they've been in before and they have taken something from the side of me. They can get in the house. They have been in the house yesterday, actually. They twisted a part of my radiator around. Charming. Fucking twats. So, yeah, that's a bit about the R&M. Bear with me because, like I said, I am new to this. So I'll go into the organised stalking side of things now, because I've been going through my diaries, like I said. And some of the things that can happen, or what's happened to me, is I've been filmed overtly whilst out. I've had teenagers calling my name on the back of the bus. I've never seen them. I don't know them. I've had bottles thrown at my head. I'll go into the coffin. The coffin can be used. So let's say 10 to 15, maybe 20 people crowd around you, for instance. I know that sounds like a lot, but bear with me. And they cough and let you know they're doing it overtly and let you're being stalked. And then it goes down to 15, and then it goes down to 10. This is an example. And then it goes down to 5, and then it goes down to maybe 2 or 1. So you're sensitized to coughing, and it's really hard to explain this one because it makes a lot of people look crazy, but that is a part of the gang stalking. I had street theatre indicating I was a guinea pig for a dentist, and I was actually chipped at the dentist. So yeah, that's just an example of the street theatre. There's gesticulations that they use, which are really quite funny, really. I don't know if they do it to make you paranoid. I mean, I've read on some websites that they use it to communicate with each other. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I can't really go into that because I don't know. I've had paper cuts in my sleep, I'd just like to mention, when they've broken into my house. Also, with the stalking, there's white vans, red vans used, and you're sensitised to them, and a lot of TI registrations, which says TI on it. TI, as you all know, targeted individuals, stands for targeted individuals. And I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos that there is a car parked in my area which says YTI for HTE, which is YTI for hate, obviously, if you're sensitised, that sort of stuff. I've had aircraft stalking, which is freaky, really. Chemtrails, interesting. Now, I've had chemtrails above me, which mark X, and where I go, where I worked, and where I work at the moment, I've had X put above there as well, and it's where you go. And it's not a coincidence if it happens, all the time. A lot of other targets have mentioned this, so it's not something new. Another thing is phone tapping. You can hear when the phone's being tapped because you hear clicking noises. They overvoice the phone sometimes. Don't know whether that's RNM or remote neural monitoring. You can hear some white noise. When your phone's being monitoring, they do it overtly, and it's all to stress you out and drive you crazy. Also, with the gang stalking, organised stalking, they do I call it the mental sign. Well, that's what I put on my notes, where they stick a finger to the ear and they make out you crazy, which is horrible. It all is. Also, I had people leaving oranges around, which my ex used to do. Well, not call him an ex, call him a cunt. So they've done that. They've left oranges around and stuff, and like I said, it's all to do with sensitisation. You've got to be sensitised to understand. Like if you've been in a violent relationship and that person folds the towels in a certain way, and then someone came into your house while you was out, like what happens to me and other targeted individuals, and folded the towel in that exact way, you'd be sensitised because you understand that the person that you was with used to fold the towels in that way. So that explains a bit about sensitisation. I'm not an expert, I just know what I've experienced. Okay, directed energy weapons. Now, as I said, I went through my diaries and I forget because of the trauma. Each day it has to be a new day, and you just have to be strong and get through it. It's so hard, it's unbelievable, but I'm not moaning about it. I've been fried in the head, and it feels like pressure as well. So when I'm in bed, it feels like pressure is hitting your head. Also, I think it's with microwave weaponry, directed energy weaponry, whatever you want to call it. I'm not an expert in these terms, but you can be hit in the right or the left ear, and your ear rings. It literally rings. And another thing is ringing and tinnitus in your brain continuously, and I think that's partly due to the fact of it's due to the fact that you're hooked up to a computer with a remote neural monitoring. It's a constant ringing. You can tell when they're tuning in as well, because you get this ringing. Sometimes it dies down. It's constant, but sometimes it dies down. Also, I'm attacked in the stomach a lot with these weapons. Like I said, a family member was diagnosed with cancer and had to have surgery, and had mentioned that she was stalked in the hospital whilst she was having the surgery. They crowded round Good Street Theatre, about 10 of them, and there was somebody from Stocksbridge there who knew the psychopathic knobhead who was conducting the V2K and the R&M on me. And so during that episode, there was a person who said, well, I couldn't let 10 people down, could I? Now, this person was having surgery. She had a wire in her breast at the time. She was waiting for surgery. It's disgusting. So, with these directed energy weapons, you can just be hit in the head, and it feels like you've been pulsed in the head by extremely large frequency. It's bad. And like I said, also there's pressure on your head. Another thing is the vibrating. At one point there was like what I can describe as a generator upstairs, what seemed like a generator, and it was going vroom, vroom, and vibrating my brain. It's such a bad situation. All TIs will know what I'm saying, and some will have experienced some of the things I'm saying. Some of the TIs, like they'll have not. I don't know whether this will get out as true TIs. I'm doing my best to explain. I am tired due to the fact that I've been hit constantly. They have upped the torture before I made this video, so I might sound wobbly, but I'm not bothered because I'm doing my best. I'm strong to get these videos out, and anyone who's going through this, who puts videos out and carries on, I take my hat off to you because you're strong and you've got to keep going. And like I said, I'll say it again, you're really strong to do so. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope all genuine TIs are okay. Keep going, keep strong. I'll say that a lot because that's what you've got to do. It's the only thing you can do, as I've said in my previous videos, is just to carry on and note things down. And when you need to, read them and try and put them out in videos. Yeah, so I'll get back to you another time. Hope everyone has a good evening. Goodbye.